Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I want to talk about a topic that is not only about technology, but also about how we live together as citizens, AI and democracy. For my generation, AI is everywhere. It suggests what videos we watch, it translates languages instantly, it helps with schoolwork, and it even writes music and stories. In many ways, AI feels like a friendly helper. But at the same time, it raises serious questions about fairness, truth, and power, questions that are deeply connected to democracy. First, let's think about information. In a democracy, people need access to different opinions to make decisions. But AI algorithms decide which posts, articles, or ads we see. If we are shown only what matches our past behavior, then we may live inside an information bubble. That means instead of learning from each other, we may only hear echoes of ourselves. Can citizens make wise choices if their view of the world is filtered this way? Second, let's think about participation. AI can help more people take part in public life. For example, speech recognition or translation tools allow people with disabilities or different languages to join discussions. That is a real improvement. But there is also a danger. Fake accounts and bots can flood social media with messages that look like citizens' voices, but are not. If machines pretend to be people, how can we trust the conversation? Third, let's think about trust itself. Democracy requires us to trust that debates are honest, even when we disagree. But AI makes it easier to create deepfakes, videos or audios that look real but are fake. If we cannot believe what we see or hear, how can we continue to argue and decide together? Without trust, democracy becomes very fragile. There is also the problem of power. AI systems are usually created and controlled by a few large companies. They decide how the algorithms work, but ordinary people often cannot see inside the black box. Should decisions about elections, justice, or opportunities really depend on systems we cannot question? Democracy means accountability. But can we hold machines, or the companies behind them, accountable? So, what should we do? I don't think the answer is to reject AI. It can bring real benefits. But we need to guide it carefully. We should demand transparency about how algorithms work. Schools should teach digital literacy, so young people understand when they are being influenced. Governments should make sure access to digital tools is fair, so no one is left behind. And as citizens, we must remember that technology is not neutral, it reflects human choices. In the end, democracy is not only about casting votes. It is about listening, debating, and making decisions together. AI can either support that process, or it can distort it. The future depends on how we use it. If we let AI divide us, democracy will weaken. But if we use it to include more voices and strengthen trust, democracy can grow stronger. That is why I believe AI should not replace citizens, but serve them. It is not the headliner of democracy, we are. Thank you very much.
All right, listeners, today we're tuning into a frequency that's more than music, more than tech hype. It's the beat of democracy in the age of artificial intelligence. We're going to drop the needle on AI, what it is doing to politics, how it shifts power, and whether it strengthens the people's voice or drowns it out in noise. So let's set the tempo. AI is not just another gadget or app. It's a system that learns from data, makes predictions, and sometimes even makes decisions. And that means it doesn't just live in your phone. It lives in the way governments monitor, companies advertise, and citizens participate. First track, representation. Democracy is supposed to be about the people's voice. But what happens when algorithms decide what you see and what you don't? Your newsfeed, your search results, your political ads, they're curated by invisible DJs called algorithms. If you're only shown what matches your past clicks, your view of the world narrows. Suddenly, the marketplace of ideas looks less like an open festival and more like a private party with no exit. Second track, participation. AI can open doors by translating languages in real time, by making government services more accessible, by giving citizens new tools to engage. Imagine a town hall where every voice is transcribed, analyzed, and included. No voice drowned out because of language or disability. That's the bright side. But the flip side? Bots pretending to be citizens. Automated accounts flooding discussions, amplifying outrage or silencing dissent. The beat of participation can be remixed into manipulation. Third track, power. Who owns the data? Who trains the models? If it's a handful of corporations, then democracy risks becoming dependent on private DJs who set the rules for the whole dance floor. Transparency matters. Do we know what's behind the black box, or are we dancing blind? When algorithms decide bail, loans, or hiring, they don't just affect wallets, they affect rights, dignity, justice. Let's talk trust. Democracy runs on trust. If people believe the system is rigged, the rhythm breaks. AI can build trust if used carefully, for example, auditing public spending with automated systems, or catching corruption with data analysis. But it can also erode trust if people think machines are spying on them, if deepfakes blur the line between fact and fiction, if every headline could be a remix of lies. Here comes the identity drop. In democracy, identity is plural. You and I may disagree, but both voices count. But AI systems often label, classify, and predict. They turn individuals into data points, probabilities, risk scores. If those labels decide who gets opportunities, who gets stopped by police, who gets flagged for suspicious behavior, then democracy risks turning into surveillance. Representation replaced by recognition. Let's not skip the global remix. AI tools are used to censor and control, turning democracy's open mic into a single official broadcast. In others, they're used to expand participation, letting more citizens in the loop. The same technology, different values. The question is, which beat will dominate? So, what's the practical advice for dancing in this AI democracy club? Stay critical of what shows up in your feed. If it feels too perfect, too tailored, it probably is. Demand transparency. Algorithms shaping elections should be accountable, not black-boxed. Support digital literacy. Citizens who understand how AI works are less likely to get played by it. Push for fairness. If AI is judging, make sure it's audited, tested, and corrected. The encore question is this: will AI amplify democracy or remix it into something unrecognizable? Real talk. AI is powerful. It can help us deliberate better, make systems fairer, and widen participation. But it can also polarize, manipulate, and concentrate power. The turntables are spinning, but we as citizens decide what gets played. So as we fade out today, here's the hook to remember. Democracy is not a playlist someone else makes for you. It's the mix you create together. AI can be part of the set, but the people must remain the headliners. Keep your eyes open, keep your mind sharp, and never let the algorithm steal your vote. That's today's set. Catch you on the next beat.
When we speak of democracy, we often imagine ballots cast, debates held, and freedoms defended. We imagine an open square where citizens meet as equals, exchanging views, weighing reasons, and deciding together how they will be governed. But what happens to this vision when artificial intelligence enters the scene, not as a neutral tool, but as a powerful participant shaping what we see, what we believe, and even how we deliberate? This is the question we must face. Does AI strengthen democracy, or does it risk hollowing it out? Let us begin with the promise. AI can make democratic life more inclusive. Think of citizens who once could not participate fully because of language barriers, disabilities, or lack of access. Translation tools, speech recognition, and accessible platforms can bring new voices into the conversation. Imagine a public forum where every comment is transcribed, translated, and weighed, no voice overlooked, no perspective erased. This vision is inspiring. It suggests that AI might extend the democratic ideal, making real the principle that each voice counts. But promises do not come without perils. Consider the way AI shapes what citizens see. Our news feeds, our search results, our political ads, these are not delivered by impartial messengers. They are filtered, ranked, and targeted by algorithms. And algorithms do not simply show us the world, they show us a world curated to our past clicks, our preferences, our fears. If democracy requires a public square, what happens when each of us is placed in a private room, listening to a tailored echo, unable to hear what others hear? We must ask, is democracy still deliberative if citizens are kept apart by invisible walls of personalization? Or does it become something else, less about debate and more about manipulation? Another arena is participation itself. Bots can flood online discussions, posing as citizens, amplifying outrage, and silencing dissent. Can we call this democracy when the loudest voices may not belong to citizens at all? Or is it a distortion, a counterfeit conversation that undermines trust in the very idea of public discourse? Trust, this is the lifeblood of democracy. We do not agree on everything, but we must trust that our disagreements are real, that our opponents are fellow citizens, not phantom accounts. If AI deepfakes blur the line between truth and falsehood, if every video and every voice could be manufactured, how can we deliberate in good faith? What becomes of self-government when we cannot even agree on what is real? There is also the question of power. Who controls the data? Who designs the models? If the answers point to a handful of corporations, then we must ask whether democracy is quietly yielding its sovereignty to private actors. Should unelected engineers determine how justice is distributed, how opportunity is allocated, how security is defined? If bail decisions, hiring processes, or loan approvals are delegated to opaque algorithms, then what remains of accountability? Democracy insists that decisions affecting citizens' rights must be answerable to the people. Can machines, or the corporations that own them, meet this standard? And then, identity. In a democracy, identity is plural. Each of us is more than a label, more than a score. Yet AI systems classify, predict, and assign risk. They turn citizens into probabilities, reducing individuality to a data point. What happens when a risk score determines who is searched by police, who receives an opportunity, who is flagged as suspicious? Are we still citizens with equal dignity, or merely categories to be managed? Globally, we see two futures unfolding. In some societies, AI is deployed to censor, to surveil, to concentrate power in the hands of the state. Here, democracy is not amplified, it is suffocated. In others, AI is used to broaden access, to connect citizens, to monitor corruption. The same technology, different values. The question is not simply what AI can do, but what purposes it should serve. This leads to the moral heart of the matter. Efficiency, speed, and accuracy are often celebrated as the highest virtues of AI. But are these the virtues democracy most needs? Democracy thrives not on speed, but on deliberation, not on accuracy alone, but on accountability and dignity. If we allow efficiency to eclipse fairness, if we allow speed to substitute for inclusion, then we risk trading the soul of democracy for the convenience of technology. We must therefore deliberate together. Should algorithms used in elections be transparent, open to public scrutiny? Should citizens have the right to know how their data is used, and to say no? Should governments ensure equal digital access, so that democracy is not divided between the connected and the excluded? Should we demand that AI systems be audited not only for accuracy, but for fairness and justice? These are not technical questions alone. They are ethical questions. They are questions about what kind of society we want to be, about what values we prize. AI is not destiny. It is a tool. But like all powerful tools, it can magnify our virtues or our vices. It can extend democracy or erode it. The choice is ours, not just as consumers or users, but as citizens. So we return to the original vision of democracy: citizens gathered in the square, voices raised, disagreements aired, decisions made together. AI can either help us build a larger square, or it can wall us off into smaller and smaller rooms. The task before us is not to worship technology nor to fear it, but to govern it in the name of justice and the common good. If democracy is to endure in the age of AI, it will not be because algorithms chose well. It will be because citizens did.